Before the video starts, I just wanted to make a quick little announcement that I did decide when I'm going to be streaming the 49ers off-season is going to be tomorrow, Monday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, whatever. It's going to be 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's right, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be streaming the off-season, and I'll try to get everything up for it by Wednesday in terms of videos and whatnot. But ignore the end of the video when I say I don't know. 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday. See you there. Peace. It starts with the firing of Chuck Pagano, followed up by the hiring of John Harbaugh, an offer that he could not refuse. It's a 3-year contract worth about $4 million a year, plus incentives. It's a very good contract for John Harbaugh, who went to the 49ers, very different team than the one that his brother was forced out of. Taking a look, though, in a roundabout way, the 49ers have 7 draft picks. And I'm going to show you guys all the players that I have scouted. I'll highlight some of the guys that I'll be looking at. But for the most part, I'm going to be talking about the direction that the team's going to be going in, who we're going to be looking towards, and positions that we're going to be looking to fill. You'll see guys who I'm really looking at will have a little eye on them. Chris Arnold is somebody who I'm probably going to take in the 3rd round no matter what. I trade down a little bit for him, but not much. I really want him as a slot receiver. So the way things work is pretty simple. The team has its ups and downs, and it was 31st in the league defensively this year, and a lot of that is because of, one, the tempo was not there. Teams were outgaining us by a lot in terms of time of possession, but the pass rush was not there, and we were not getting off the field quickly enough. The coverage wasn't particularly great, but it was good enough, and the safety play was poor. We had a lot of trouble with our safety position, and while Eric Reed was decent at times, we had a lot of trouble covering tight ends in general. That comes from both inside linebacker and safety positions. So the main areas of concern are on the defensive line. Most likely getting a true nose tackle would be ideal. Getting a couple pass rushers to throw into the mix. Having a 3-4 pass rusher inside would be very useful. Tank Carradine has not gotten the job done. And getting a 3-4 pass rusher on the outside would be very useful as well. And someone like, to replace Corey Lemonier, who, Lemonier's been fine, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't consistently get pressure. He has a lot of opportunities to get pressure, and his amount of sacks, while they're good, he's not getting a lot of pressure outside of that. So that's something to be concerned about. With John Harbaugh, it's also going to be a hybrid scheme, which means that we need to have a little bit more depth on the defense, on the defensive line, and in the linebacking core. And having an inside linebacker who can cover, specifically as our number 1 linebacker, and having Navarro Bowman as our run stopper in a very similar role to what Brandon Spikes had, or what Bowman had previously in San Francisco, is what we need to look at. We need a safety, and the number 1 target for free safety for us will be most likely in free agency. There are a few guys, I'm not going to spoil that for you, but there are a few guys who I've been looking at whose contract expires this year. We'll see if they actually hit free agency. The top 3 guys on my list currently have not signed extensions, so that's a really good thing. Aside from that, the team on its own has had its issues with injuries, and definitely need to get a little bit more depth at the wide receiver position, because the drop-off from Nate Hill to the rest of the team was too drastic. It just was not ideal. And the offensive line in its own right was good for run blocking purposes, but pass blocking was that was a struggle at times. Bryce Petty got the ball out of his hand a lot, but he got hit a lot, and that's not really good. Another thing is we're probably going to go after another quarterback in the draft. Not someone in the first few rounds, but someone as a late round pick who can potentially be a backup. It doesn't mean that we're going to be getting rid of Kalen Jones, but it most likely means that Blaine Gabbert's time in San Francisco is up, and his horrendous performance during the season is a testament to being replaced. Now, looking at free safety, Jimmy Ward will not be the free safety next season. It's just not happening. He's not good enough to be the free safety, and to assume otherwise is just not appropriate. So we'll have to see how that goes, but we're also going to look at potentially kicker. While Kyle Brins is okay, he's not accurate enough. We're very careful with the situations that we put him in, and it slowed down the offense a little bit, but he's not exactly great, and his ability on kickoffs is decent. With the wind in his favor, he can do it, but it'll be better to have someone who we can trust a little bit farther. If we can find someone with a huge leg who can kick it from 60 yards instead of someone who can kick it from 52, then I think we'll be in a better spot. But if we have to sell for Brinza, we have to sell for him. He's a good enough kicker. But you always want to look to upgrade a position like that, especially when you don't have someone who's an absolute lock at that role. Marquette King has been phenomenal. Bernie Lauderdale and Kobe Fleener have been great together. Elgin Armstead and Carlos Hyde have been spectacular, but there have been some rumblings that Carlos Hyde is not particularly happy with splitting reps. It might not be his calling to be a split back with Elgin Armstead, but we'll have to see if that persists. If his production starts going down because he's not happy, then things might have to be changed during the course of the season. But as of now, Elgin Armstead and Carlos Hyde are going to continue to split reps. Both of them are very capable, but having them together really is a huge benefit to the team. Joe Staley is fantastic as long as he is remaining in the NFL. He's getting up there in age, so it wouldn't be a surprise if he decided to retire in the near future. But the rest of the offensive line looks pretty good. It seems like Freddie Young is more ideal as a guard instead of a tackle. And Alex Boone played the right tackle position as well as you possibly could this season. So we'll see how he does, but hopefully we can maintain that, and we'll see how Christian Reeves and company do, because they've been fine. Wes Dorsey's been pretty good as a center. In year 2, these guys should all make big steps forward, and I think that's something really good. Eric Armstead has been phenomenal. Navarro Bowman has been great as a tackler, awful in coverage, but that's really not his strength. Aaron Lynch has been very good for us. He's been good both in coverage and in pass rushing situations, both good as a run stopper as well. Drake Kirkpatrick is very good for us. He's proven that he can be a pretty good number 1 guy. Maybe it'll be better to put him at the number 2 if Darius Motes proves himself through the preseason. He stepped up tremendously in the second half of his rookie campaign and really was excellent. We look at someone like Tyler Gordon, and it's a little bit difficult to judge him. He had his moments, but he struggled. He did. He really struggled in a very difficult role. Nickel corner is never an easy position to be at, because it takes a lot. Guys are so shifty in that position. But I think he's done enough to maintain that role, and if not, we can always consider upgrading it in the draft, maybe drafting a late round corner or not, because we do have Eric Lewis, who we picked up out of free agency, who was a rookie this season as well, and Le'Veon Duncan proved that he's a really good player, both in the return game and as a corner. He had 2 interceptions and 2 starts at corner. He played very good coverage, had an eye for the ball, had an eye for his receiver as well. Really spectacular, and it's something that we can be really excited about. So I think overall the team has looked good. Eric Reed might be better off as a strong safety, but we do have the option of, and we'll keep this between you and me, we do have the option to put Eric Reed as an inside linebacker and drafting a strong safety and going after a free safety in free agency. If we do that, Eric Reed would be the primary inside linebacker for coverage purposes, and he would be that hybrid safety linebacker type role, similar to what Deion Buchanan plays, but a little bit similar to what Patrick Chung plays, probably closer to that, but his official title would be linebacker now, and we could have Navarro Bowman as our secondary linebacker. I think that would be really good for the team. Eric Reed at the line of scrimmage has been very solid, and that's pretty much it. So Jamie Collins ended with 21.5 sacks, coming up just short on the NFL record. Aaron Rodgers and Blake Bortles both made onto the top 10 all-time for passing yards in a single season. And we're just going to kind of look over the overall divisional standings once again. You can look at that while I keep going. We have the 20th pick in the draft. That is our draft pick. So every round that we have our original pick will be 20th. We also have the number 3 pick in the draft from the Oakland Raiders. And that's awesome. That is really spectacular for us. We can really do some good things with that, whether it be trading down or taking somebody high up. We'll have to take a look at the combine grades and then kind of go from there. But probably with that first pick, we'll look at pass rusher, maybe defensive tackle. We'll figure that whole thing out. The 20th pick, we'll see. We do not have a second round pick. We have the 5th pick in the 3rd round, and then we have a few picks. We have a 4th, 5th, and 2 6th, I believe. No 7th. So we'll kind of figure all that out. But overall, we have some good drafting situations to work with, and I think John Harbaugh has an opportunity to put his stamp on the team and really make it his own. The hybrid defense is a very good one, and I think if we have the right personnel put in place, then we can go from there. Some players who most likely won't be returning, who are on the team currently. I think Quentin Dial's time is pretty much up if his contract is up. Same thing with Tank Carradine. Ian Williams will be retained, but he won't be starting, most likely. K'Ari Fort might be kept for depth purposes, but I don't think he's exactly necessary either. Shane Scov is not going to be back. Eli Harold has had his opportunities and has really been ineffective in them. Looking across the board, Antoine Bethea most likely will not be returning. Mike Davis will not be returning. Quentin Patton probably is done in San Francisco. Travis Benjamin, most likely. DeAndre Smelter could be. They say that about a third of an NFL roster is overturned every year, and we're going to bring in a lot of people. We're going to try to get the roster up as high as possible, and we're going to see how they play in preseason, and if they do well, then we're going to keep them around. If they don't, then we're going to cut them, and that's pretty simple. You know, we're going to put the best team forward and see what we can do from there. But overall, the unit has its advantages and its weak spots, and I think one of the advantages is Bryce Petty. Petty looked phenomenal this season. He didn't look good in his game against Tampa Bay. I thought he did a very good job versus New England. I think he did a good enough job against Buffalo to get the W, despite not winning. I think the defense really fell apart against one of the worst offenses in the league, and that was really it. Bernie Lauderdale, Joe Staley, Alex Boone, Freddie Young, all made the Pro Bowl on the offensive side. And then on the defensive side, some guys who made it include Dre Kirkpatrick, I believe, made it. Yes, Dre Kirkpatrick made it. And also, who else made it? Marquette King made it, and Le'Veon Duncan made the Pro Bowl. So that's awesome. And last but not least, we'll take a look at the awards. The awards are pretty straightforward. Elgin Armstead won Offensive Rookie of the Year for the NFC. Nate Hill and Bernie Lauderdale were both in the running. On the defensive side of the ball, I don't know how many of the 49ers were in the running for it, but we did not win it. Dre Kirkpatrick won Best Defensive Back, but was not even close on the Defensive Player of the Year, which kind of sucks. Bryce Petty was in the running. Carlos Hyde was in the running for Best Positional Player for the given spots. Nate Hill was not mentioned. Navarro Bowman was not mentioned, and so on and so forth. So overall, you can just take a look at the rest of these things, and then I'll show you the playoff schedule. I didn't get to the Super Bowl just yet. I didn't sim that game. So you guys are going to see that in the off-season live stream. I haven't determined what day it is just yet, but I have a feeling it's going to be on Thursday night or Friday night. This should be going up on like Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'll make an announcement on it. I'm not absolutely positive just yet, because I'm recording this on Saturday night, so I have to see how the week plays out. But pretty much, I have a feeling that it's going to be Thursday or Friday night. I'll have to let you know how my schedule's going, but don't worry, there will be an announcement of it, so make sure to stay tuned for that. I'll announce it on Twitter. I'll make a video saying when the off-season stream is, and then I'll upload the off-season stream in multiple parts. The free agency period and the draft separated, as well as doing a full-length version of it, maybe, and also, I might do the full-length version. I'm definitely going to do a summary of it. So there'll probably be 3 videos, part 1, part 2, and then summary. And that's about it. So here are the matchups for the playoffs. I hope you guys enjoyed my offseason preview. I ran everything down. I think you guys have an idea of how the team's going, and I'll be talking to you guys later. Peace out, Franchise Nation. Chiefs, Cowboys, Super Bowl. Oh, man.